It being 6 o'clock, I call this meeting to order. Call the roll.
Matthews,
Here.
Weaver,
Here.
Flood,
Here.
Bolt, Rutherford,
Here.
Seymour,
Here.
Salter.
Here.
We have a quorum.
We stand for invocation.
No invocation.
No?
No, sir. No invocation or pledge on a special call.
All right.
We'll get to it.
All right. Item number 1 is public hearing for budget for fiscal year 2021-2022. Ashley?
All right.
And while he's working on that, I thought I would go ahead and just talk a little bit about the budget process as a whole.
Can you use your microphone?
Oh, sorry.
And would you mind setting the hand sanitizer down? I would hope this
Yes.
can't see you. Thank you.
Okay, I need to be taller. Okay, let's try this again. Okay, so I thought I'd start with just a short summary of the budget process as a whole. So this is something that you normally starts somewhere between January and February, and we will set up. So this year with OpenGov was a little different. We set up the proposals inside the software. The department heads went in and entered their budget request, and then we met and discussed those budget requests. And once we had those meetings, then we went internal and started building the budget. And then the next phase is actually this budget hearing, which is required by law. And that's what brings us here. Oh, and all right. So I'm going to go over the major funds, but if there are any questions about any of the smaller funds, I'm happy to answer those as well. So the first is the general fund. This is our main operating fund where most of our personnel is budgeted. So our total revenue is $23.6 million. That is a 2% increase from our FY21 base budget. The other revenues were based off historical data, current contracts, and current conditions. And now remember, taxes are our largest source of revenue, with sales tax and use tax being the largest of that group. Expenditure-wise, we are looking at 23.6 in regard to expenditures. That is based off of historical data, those departmental meetings that I mentioned earlier, and also current purchasing conditions. For example, building materials have went up extremely, ammo has went up extremely, taking all that into consideration. So, and I'm not sure, I apologize, I don't know how well you can see this, but this is an expenditure breakdown. As you can see, the top are police and fire. Together, they make up about $14.5 million of the budget, so more than half. That is followed by culture and recreation at $1.6 million. That's mainly the parks and the expo. And then you have public works, which is mainly streets and cemetery at 1.5, followed by smaller departments. The other category of 2.3 million are just the smaller departments such as finance, city clerk, emergency management, engineering, HR, etc. So as can be expected with the breakdown of the budget, FTE-wise, police and fire are the highest with 148 total. That's 93 for the police department and 55 for the fire department. That's followed by public works with 20, and then our culture and recreation with 14.5. You go down in the other groups, those are, again, the smaller departments, emergency management, HR, city clerk, etc. Some highlights that I would like to mention about the general fund is we are looking to invest in technology. So this implements CityWorks, which is a GIS-centric asset management and workflow management system. This is something that pretty much any of our departments that have employees out in the field or manage equipment will be able to use and allow us to know when our assets are needing repair, how often they're repaired, job costing, anything in paperless work orders, all of that is included in this. This also includes funding for some LexisNexis kiosks, which will provide another way for citizens to pay fines, fees, any sort of utility bill, things like that. We are also looking to clean up and prepare the community. So in FY21, we were able to budget $75,000 in demo. I was able to increase that to $275,000 for this budget. We also are refurbishing the salt spreaders to be prepared for the next big weather event. Finally, we were also looking to invest in employees. This does provide funding for the hiring of an aquatic and activities manager, and this person will be responsible for programming not only at the pool, but also at all of our other facilities as well. So we also increased their training budget in total by 25% over FY19. I went back to FY17, and that was the high water mark. So we're looking at approximately $180,000 in general fund spending for training this year. So the next fund is the Shawnee Municipal Authority, and this is the fund that is the main funder of our water utility, water and sewer and sanitation. So our total revenue is approximately $18.8 million, same for expenditure. So the basis for our revenue was historical data, current conditions, and current borrowing. And our expenditures is also based off the historical data and the departmental meetings. One thing to note is this is a little lower than FY21, but that's because the AMI project has wrapped up and we are still in the engineering phase for the wastewater and water treatment at this moment. So expenditure-wise, the largest department is utility administration. And that comes in at $5.8 million. I would like to note we're not spending that all on personnel. That is largely our central disposal contract and our engineering for those wastewater and water treatment facilities. And then we have transfers out and debt service, and the debt service covers both the new debt and our existing debt from prior years. That's followed by the smaller of water production, sewer collection, et cetera, the rest of the departments. So the FTE breakdown for SMA is a little bit more even than you see on the general fund side. The largest one is water production at 8, but the rest are like 7, 6, 5. The smallest is water utility at 4, utility admin, apologies, at 4. And so it's pretty evenly split among the departments. So some highlights for SMA is we are trying to prepare for the future. We're continuing the process, as I mentioned, of rebuilding the water and wastewater treatment plants, and we're also providing for dam repairs out at the lake. We also wanted to really focus on the places to play. So there are several amenities that we're looking to add. So we're looking to add wayfinding signage at the lake, a restroom at Isaac Walton, and a security system for the lake to make it just more safer for the patrons that are there. So the next fund is the capital improvement fund. So this fund is the fund where we do most of our asset purchases and other major capital needs for the general government. So our total estimated revenue is $2.7 million. And that again, since its main revenue source is sales tax, it's based off a 2% increase of our 21 budget. And then our other revenues is just looking at historical data. Our total expenditures is $2.6 million, and that is actually mainly based off budget request and the department meetings we had. So some big items for this one is it does provide for the purchase of 3 police vehicles, and it also funds a lease program, so several pieces of our older equipment that is in desperate need of replacement can be replaced more quickly. We also dedicate $100,000 for expo repairs and then provide just the basic standard replacement for the fire department of bunker gear, hose, and other equipment. Now we did build $70,000 in contingency for emergencies into this budget, so if something does spring up, there is something there to cover it. Okay, and street improvement. So as you know, this fund mainly goes toward street improvement. Most of the projects in this will look familiar, but we can start with the revenue and expenditure totals. So for our total revenues, we were at about $4.1 million. So this is an increase, again, sales tax is its major, so 2% off an FY21 budget. And also we have other historical data and revenue. So our total expenditures is also 4.2, and it comes from budget request and department meetings, and also just the ongoing projects that are continuing. Okay. So here are the highlights. And like I said, these will mainly look familiar, so we're going to continue to work on the Avitas sidewalk projects among Highland, Kickapoo, and Independence. And we're going to finish out the Kickapoo project for the road expansion. And it also provides for continued street maintenance and the completion of the Leo Industrial Access Road. Okay, so the 2018 Capital Improvement Fund is the fund that is fed by the sales tax that was passed in June of 2018, the half-cent sales tax. We are estimating a $3.1 million in revenue, and again, based on a 2% increase. Now, total expenditures, we are estimating at basically 25 million. The big difference is because we took out those two notes, one in December of 2018 and one in this fiscal year, and we're using those proceeds as these projects get off the ground. And basically what we used to build the expenditure budget was basically the capital improvement projects that were listed in the notes, and also the project list that was provided to the public during the time of trying to pass the half-cent sales tax. But just some highlights is it does provide 2.5 million in panel replacement for the improvement of city streets. It also will see the completion of the police headquarters and continues the work of upgrading Woodland and Kidspace Park. And further, it funds the rehab of Whitaker Street. All right. And so that is the summary of what I have, but I'm more than happy to answer any questions that you may have.
No questions, everyone's quiet.
Oh,
All
okay.
right, thank you, Ash. Do we want to do this in phases, too? Okay, then I declare the public hearing open. Anyone speaking in favor? Anyone to speak in favor? Not seeing or hearing anyone. Anyone want to speak in opposition? Yes.
In favor of going forward,
Come on now.
hello, how y'all doing today?
Good, how are you?
My name is Michael Savage. The question I was having, basically asking is, we're talking about going forward with these things. Is that what it is? Someone speaking up to talk about if it's a good idea?
Sure.
Okay. Rebuilding the headquarters, well, finishing the headquarters for the police officer.
Uh-huh.
That sounds very positive. Roads, also.
Yes, sir.
That sounds very positive to me. Park, you said park also?
Yes, sir, do Woodland and Kidspace Park.
Okay. Any updates on on a little water park over there?
Boy Scout Park?
Yeah.
We're working on that. That's currently under repair.
That's with all that too?
That's just general maintenance. But
Okay.
yes, that will be repaired in this, hopefully by the end of the month, but if not, it'll be this summer.
All right. I like that. Sounds like some positive things going on. And y'all asked me if I want to step up and say that's something good going on. Yeah. Yeah, I totally agree.
Appreciate it.
I'm for that. I'm for those things. Yes, I like good roads and I like good parks, and if the police is safe, then I'm safe. So, what's the next step from this?
Do what?
What's the next step that I do from here?
That's it? You've introduced yourself?
Yeah.
Anything that you're for, we appreciate hearing that, and then now's the time, if you have anything you're opposed to, we're happy to hear that too.
About anything?
Yeah. Well, budget related. This is a public hearing on the budget.
Okay. I overheard about a kayaking program. Anybody ever heard about that?
Yes, sir.
Well, is that something that could be, resourceful here in the Shawnee area? Because Oklahoma got the most man-made lakes. So I'm just saying, as far as the water resources, I think that might be something that we, as the Potawatomi unit, can
Sure.
come together on. And I'm pretty sure we can make some
Yes, sir.
positive changes here in the community with something like that. And that's something that I would like to bring up.
I appreciate that.
So,
Staff will take that into consideration.
oh, thank y'all. Well, Thank y'all for listening. I'm going to go have a seat,
Mr. Savage, thank you very much.
enjoy myself.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. Anyone else? All right, seeing no one else, I declare the public hearing closed. And we're adjourned. Oh, well, should we?
Any
Yeah,
other discussion on the
comment?
commission?
I was just well, first, I want to thank Mr. Savage for speaking. I believe it was, unless there's another Mr. Savage in town, reached out by email today, and I appreciate your involvement and appreciate his speaking. A couple of things. One, I say this half jokingly, but can we find the money in the budget to improve our screen?
Yeah.
I mean, because I had trouble seeing that, and I have trouble seeing in regular meetings when we vote, who voted yes or no.
Sure.
Also, just, I appreciate, one, all the work Ashley and the staff put into it. And I'm thankful that you used the 2019-20 numbers instead of, I was reading an article actually on my way in from Oklahoma City, and they're getting, and we're seeing the same crazy tax numbers right now, and I don't know if any of us know if it's legitimate or if it'll stay or if it's stimulus related. Oklahoma City has gotten their 3 largest tax checks ever 3 months in a row. And so I think it's a lot easier to increase the budget later using, and so I appreciate that wisdom. I did have one question, I guess, going back, the demolition number, does that include carryover, or did we find more?
No, so I was able to go back and find another 100.
Okay. That was my, was the main notes I made.
Anyone else? No more discussion?
Quite a bunch.
All right. All right, then we're adjourned.
Thank you.
Kids.